This week's episode of Still Untitled is brought to you by VMware's new podcast, IT is Greater Than Sci-Fi. Have you ever been watching a movie and gone, well, why didn't they just fix a problem like that? Of course, then there probably wouldn't be a movie. But tech pioneer VMware said, screw it, they're going to turn this idea into a podcast. So they dropped a couple of IT guys in the classic sci-fi movies like Star Wars, Matrix, The Terminator to plug the technology plot holes. Clever and funny. It's called IT is Greater Than Sci-Fi, and you can listen at vmware.com/radius/sci-fi or download from iTunes. Now on with the show.
Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project. I'm Will.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Norm.
Hey.
Oh, wow, we're in a non-traditional seating layout here
We
again.
are, and your voice is a little muted today. It just sounds
really?
a little bit sort of in the higher register.
So I've been going to vocal therapy,
Oh.
and I've learned to use the front of my voice and take breaths, so I can use breath the entire way through, which is where I was causing most of my problems.
You didn't breathe when you were talking?
I would breathe, but I wouldn't carry through. I would push beyond my breath's ability to carry. And you can do that by cheating and clenching up your throat muscles.
Ugh.
Did you see that lovely video that made the rounds a couple weeks ago of the accent specialist doing breakdowns of 35 Hollywood accents?
I did see that.
It is really thrilling and wonderful to watch. I learned one great word from it. He uses many, many terms I've never heard, but the one I remembered is he's describing Cate Blanchett's wonderful impression of Katharine Hepburn in The Aviator.
Okay.
And he's actually breaking down what's wrong with it, because it definitely, one of the things that's wrong with it, and this happens to a few actresses, is that they don't clench up their jaws enough to accurately represent an accent. For instance, when Kate Winslet is trying to do a slight Polish inflected accent in Steve Jobs' movie, he goes and shows Meryl Streep doing Sophie's Choice and how like the Polish tend to leave their jaw much less open. But if you've been trained in musical theater and in classic theater, you're trained to make the whole instrument wide open.
Open that up as much as possible.
It's hard to unlearn that. And so he's referring to Katharine Hepburn's particular way of speaking. It's an accent, but it's not really an accent from a place as much as it is from a person.
It's an East Coast prep school accent is what it is.
Yes, but it's also still quite hers and hers alone. So he calls it an idiolect.
Wow.
Idiolect.
Idiolect. Sorry, idiolect. Yeah.
That's pretty good. I've never heard that one before.
That's my compressor going.
Very nice.
Well, that's
Sorry,
everybody.
I have to watch that video. 35 different Hollywood accents.
Yeah, he's not very happy with Brad Pitt's accents in many different films.
I think that's a fair criticism.
Except for Snatch. He loves his Irish accent in Snatch, but hates it in Devil's Own.
Wow.
Very
Devil's
picky.
Own was first, right? Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. That I couldn't tell you.
I watched Keanu this weekend.
is it
Oh,
good?
the Key and Peele movie.
The Key and Peele movie.
Yeah.
It is stupendously dumb in the best possible way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pop star dumb?
I keep
it is a
hearing that I should
different-
see that.
You should see
got
Popstar.
to.
Okay.
Popstar is real dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's a little bit, it's pretty dumb, but all over the place in a not bad way.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The cat's really good, so it's got that going for it.
I love Key and Peele. Love them. I met Keegan Michael Key at a thing at Sketchfest a couple years ago. We have a bunch of mutual friends. They are every bit as delightful as you hope they are.
Didn't he host the White House Correspondents' Dinner? Was that him?
I don't know if he hosted it, but he played Luther behind Obama.
Oh, that's what
as
it was.
Obama's anger counselor.
Yes, one of
That
the
was
best bits,
100%.
sketches ever.
Yeah, 100%.
And Luther is the silent voice, the true voice.
Was that a purposeful segue? Because it was a natural
I know.
segue.
Wow.
He's really good. Because I had to ask myself, and of course we're going to draw attention to all segues
It's
to
what
make sure
podcasts.
they
It's
don't
how
have-
people know it's a podcast.
True.
Wow, Norm, that was a really awesome, super smooth segue. No one would have ever noticed that it was there.
I meant to ask you if in your Kickstarter video, if you tried the, oh, hi, I didn't see you there.
We did that. The first time we did that was when we moved into a new office before
2010.
Whale Rock bought us in 2010 or 2011. Yeah. And at that point, we did that and we watched the video and I was like, oh, wait, probably a little late on this one.
Yeah.
So that was 6 years ago.
So I've got a lot to talk about. I've got a lot to tell you about things that have been going
I want
on.
to hear it
Okay.
all. Let's start with What does the segue led into?
My wife and I attended the White House Christmas party. There's several, to be clear. And we were at one centering on people from the press. So I was representing tested.com.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you saying I could have got an invite?
It was Adam +1, so sorry, Norm.
That's fringe benefits. So we went last Wednesday to the. Is this going up tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah. So last Wednesday we went to the White House Christmas party, and I'm here to tell you it was an incredibly bittersweet and intense experience. More than that, I have been working obviously with the OSTP at the White House and people like Tom Khalil, Andrew Coy, in pushing the maker agenda and maker movement forward. We put videos up online on Tested over the past few months in regards to that. So there were lots of meetings. We had the first board meeting for Nation of Makers, which we announced recently. There were some brainstorming sessions for future projects that I'm working on with some of the lovely, amazing people I've met through the White House. So I spent pretty much all day Monday and all day Tuesday at the White House in meetings.
Do you have the red A? The red A badge?
The red A visitor? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And it was super intense, man. Look, I want to say, Tested community knows my politics, and I think I've seen frequently there are some Tested members who disagree with my politics but indulge me, and I feel like that's a wonderful and civilized thing. So I want to state outright, I'm about to explain my complicated emotions about this election, but I am not making a value judgment. We are all people, and I know that most people voted what they thought was the best for their country, and I appreciate that. So I want to get that out there first.
Yep. But you were there working in addition to attending the party, which I'd love to hear about. You were there working, and I think a lot of people don't realize. I mean, you see the White House, whether it's portrayed in media or entertainment, as a place for a showy place, but it is also a place of work.
Yeah, it's a place of work, and it's tiny. And the Eisenhower office building next door is also, it's a big building, but there's a ton of people in it, and there's not a lot of space for all of them.
It's very, so the last time I was there was 20 years ago, so it's been a little while. But the Eisenhower especially feels like almost like a university, like an administrative building in a university, because there's just all these endless linoleum, or not linoleum, but tile floors.
In fact, those tiles are New York granite and basalt or something, marble and granite, and
they're gorgeous.
There are fossils in them. You can look around and find like cut up shells from the masoning of this. Beautiful.
But even then, 20 years ago, it was jam packed. Like everywhere was full.
What you probably didn't see 20 years ago that's happening now is that out of many of the rooms, right outside the door of many of the rooms, is a box you dump your cell phone in before going into the meeting.
Oh wow! Because it has to be. You have to be.
Yeah, there's lots of that going on. Of course.
Wow.
There are also lots of little pockets all over Eisenhower where people have meetings, because most people's offices are like 5x7. They're really, really, really tiny. So if you want to have a sit-down proper meeting with someone, there are like little tiny chairs in the library up by a dormer window where someone's put 2 chairs.
Or there's a corner someplace in the end of a hallway.
Exactly.
Well, but I mean, the thing that from the couple of times I've been in the West Wing, the thing that people always get wrong on TV, especially like, I think you could argue that Sorkin got it righter than anyone else, maybe. But even then, it still feels big.
You mean architecturally?
Architecturally,
it's not big.
It's not big.
No,
like the biggest room is a closet in any other.
And even the Oval Office is smaller than you think it is. Like, the Oval Office in its layout in your head. You can see there's the president's desk at one end of the Oval, and then in the middle there's 2 couches with a table in between. Yeah. Okay, so that's most of what's in there, and there's not a lot of room.
It's
all
like
the way
25
around those
feet
things.
from end to end.
Yeah, it's relatively small. We also on the day of the party, I met Susie Morrison, the White House pastry chef. And we got to tour the White House kitchens on the day of the Christmas party.
The workspaces, the maker spaces inside the White House.
We walked in the spiral staircase like they show in House of Cards. We walked in that little staircase, and the kit, again, everything is so much tinier. And the pastry chef, she was telling me, they made 26,000 cookies this year.
This holiday.
Wow. Right?
And Obama eats some damn cookies.
Well, clearly.
How does he keep trim?
and you know, the party was really lovely. It was press based, so a lot of the folks, the attendees, were kind of jaded about being there. They're the press corps. They live, eat, and breathe DC.
So it wasn't just science communicators and science press.
No. I met Josh from TPM, Talking Points. Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan. He brought his son to introduce his son to me, and then I was like, wait a minute.
I know you.
The president and first lady took pictures with everyone at the party.
How many people are at the party?
750 people.
So is that all they did?
I think that's all that they did. I mean,
I was 10 seconds each, right?
Yeah,
like you walk in, shake hands,
take the photo.
They've
got a very, very...
Wow.
Look, I've taken pictures with maybe 250, 300 people at a time, at the most, max. They're probably doing this for every party. I can't even tell you how incredibly gracious they were, even in those 10 seconds. Like, I know what it is I know roughly what it is to like try and I want to give everyone who's taking a picture with me a genuine experience. I want to make eye contact and I want to be there with them, even if it's brief. And they were there doing that. I mean, they were so gracious and so beautiful. And
if it's 10 seconds each, it's 2.5 hours nonstop.
And like the side that
which is insane.
Good math.
Math. I love that. I have to tell you, right after we took the picture with them, my wife and I both actually got really choked up.
I have to imagine, like, walking around there right now, it has to feel like a little bit like the last week before your high school's done, or the end of summer camp.
To that end, on Monday and Tuesday night, I think I left at around 9 or 10 p.m. on each night, and almost everyone's still at their desk.
They're always still there.
They're all sitting, and they're all putting in the hours to make the world as good as they can before they pass it on to whoever's going to sit at that desk next January.
So when you're walking around, though, everything's still kind of as it, like, they don't do the turnover where they take the old art down and the new art, take the Obama pictures down and all that stuff until the very last minute, right?
Yeah, no. It's all Christmas party.
Okay.
Right. And in the Eisenhower building, there were people had their offices. In Tom Khalil's office, there's all these brown paper bags saying classified and unclassified.
Oh, Jesus.
Right? It's really,
there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's all happening. And I saved the best for last. We also got to spend about an hour in the White House wood shop.
What?
There's a wood shop in the basement of the White House.
In the actual building, in the
actual building underneath.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do they? Why do they to fix all broken furniture and molding and stuff like that?
Among other things, that if you ever have everything that gets hung on a wall or hung in the White House is hung by the carpentry team there.
Makes so much sense.
The main carpenter has been there since Reagan.
Wow.
Yeah. Right. I mean, he was telling us great stories. He's like, every president's totally different in their manner. Some are very, very private. He said George H.W. Bush came down to the shop all the time and used tools.
Wow.
I can see that.
Right?
He seems like a kind of hands-on kind of guy.
Totally. It was so lovely. And the party was great. And I especially appreciate the president and first lady taking the time to take pictures and greet everybody. That was amazing. But also the party was 750 people in a building that is very crowded.
So where was it in the actual building? Was it in the White House proper?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. In like one of the ballrooms or something?
In all of the, the green room and the blue room and
all the first floor.
Okay. Yeah, but both the library floor and the top floor.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
So did you go party in the Lincoln bedroom?
No. Sorry, not the residence.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
There's a main floor, and then there's the floor underneath where the White House Library, where Mythbusters shot is.
Got it. Okay.
And then there's a residence, and I don't know how any of that.
So I think when you do the tour, they take you like through the main floor. They don't take you downstairs, but you go up to the second floor. When the residence is the third floor, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And I did the tour too. I saw the Oval Office and looked at the door of the Situation Room. I mean, it's so intense to see this building that so many different dedicated people have been stewards of for brief periods of time. It's really what you feel like. And, to their credit, no one at the White House was talking about the transition unless you asked.
Yeah.
Right. They're hunkering down and they're doing their work. and with as much good humor as they can bring.
Well, those jobs don't ever stop.
No, they don't. And there's a fair number of those folks who are continuing on, and the new administration will mold it in the image it sees fit. It's been a very intense.
I can't even imagine
weeks.
What.
And this was it. Really lent this very interesting cast on the week because I flew there on Monday, 3 days of meetings, then the party, then I immediately flew to Toronto on Thursday to interview Guillermo Del Toro for a project.
Yes.
Then to Park City, where in Park City on Saturday night I did an appearance there as part of one of their arts programs, which was another amazing evening.
Park City is so good.
Holy cow! What a beautiful place.
Have you ever been there before?
No, I've never been.
Oh,
I've been to Moab and I've been to Salt Lake a bunch of times, but not to Park City.
So Park City is one of the places I've been there in the summer and the winter, and it doesn't. There's like a negative connotation of a ski town in my head, which I don't mean as a pejorative, but it doesn't feel like a ski town. It just feels like a gorgeous place that there happens to be a bunch of really good places to ski around there.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Where did they film Westworld? That was also Utah.
I think that's in Moab.
But that's like Painted Desert type Utah, not
Monument Valley.
Yeah.
Got it.
Which was where we filmed Duct Tape Canyon. It was in Moab and Monument Valley. And oh my God, what a beautiful place. Anyway.
So at Park City, though, especially coming from the East Coast, it feels huge. Like driving up from Salt Lake, which is in this valley, and there's these gigantic new rugged mountains kind of on three sides.
Relatively young.
And geologically speaking. And it just felt like someplace. It felt like someplace out of a movie, but not a Western. It felt like Middle Earth or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Utah really has a lock on some of the most beautiful scenery in America. And I know. Look, actually, who could say? I drove across the country this summer, and every state has its amazing merits, and it's just a beautiful place. But Utah, even in Salt Lake, looking around, not even in Salt Lake, but in Salt Lake, the first time I went, I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize it was surrounded by such a beautiful mountain
three
range.
sides. It's like you feel like you're in a room that just the roof is the sky, and it's 35 miles across or something. Like it's enormous.
How many train lines go through there?
Train lines?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
I don't know. I've only taken the train. Took the train from Oakland to Aspen and then Denver and Chicago.
But Salt Lake is where the Golden Spike was driven on the first transcontinental railroad.
Yeah. Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so they built some from San Francisco east and some from St. Louis, I guess, west. And I don't know if you can still take a passenger train through there.
Played a lot of Ticket to Ride.
I played a lot of Ticket to Ride.
A train board game.
But
you skipped over GDT.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
And I know you did a collaboration with him there, but how was he? You guys talk about the show, about visiting?
No, we were working on I'm not sure how much I can say about this project right yet. It's tested. It's going to benefit from this interview that we did. We talked about movies as viewers, as lovers of movies. We also talked about a bunch of Guillermo's favorite movies. And I watched in preparation, I had the list ahead of time. I watched a bunch of his favorite movies, and man, it's a really amazing film education to watch movies like Vampire and The Spirit of the Beehive.
I've never even heard of The Spirit of the Beehive.
Really, really an amazing movie and super important movie. And when you see it, you're going to be like, oh, I totally understand what Guillermo is talking about.
Are these movies accessible on Netflix or?
They are in various places. I was all over the place, so I couldn't tell you which any specific one. I know that like some of these foreign movies, Can I Stream It, has no idea what you're talking about.
The service I always point people to is Fandor.
Fandor,
Fandor, and they do a lot of independent films and film festival films that never get distribution.
Bella Labette, Beauty and the Beast, the Cocteau version. Just so I hadn't seen it. I had no idea how beautiful the Beast is in that film. How much of a character, how much personality.
When was that made? Do you know?
30s.
30s. Okay.
Yeah. I tell you, Vampire is one of the creepiest, weirdest movies you've ever seen. With it's not vampires as fang bloodsuckers. It's more within Eastern Europe, as Guillermo was telling me, the vampire isn't always necessarily a monster. It's a monster possessed by a foul spirit. So it might not possess a monster. It might just be a foul spirit. So there's all these shadow plays. So you see lots of things like a one-legged soldier sits down on a bench and then his shadow gets up and leaves. And it's all done in camera and you realize it's all stage technique, but it's super eerie and amazing.
Yeah.
Also tons of big camera moves in a movie from the late 20s.
That's insane.
Yeah. Right. You realize that, and it's sound. What they did, they looped it. They looped the dialogue. So they're not working with a blimped Mitchell that's like the size of a Volkswagen.
Okay.
They're working with the smallest camera they can, which is still probably the size of a microwave.
Yeah. Wow.
It was wonderful. Look, I mean,
I'm
sitting
looking
down
forward
and
to that.
talking movies with Guillermo is one of the rare, lovely pleasures.
Was it all kind of your scary horror movie creepy creep fest, or did he have some stuff that was surprising to you?
That is a really, really excellent question. Wow. It was. They all fell into this category of you totally understood why they inspired him. But then we were talking about Coppola, because I had a lot of material on Coppola, having just interviewed him for the Commonwealth Club, and Guillermo said he said, I want to stop and single out Francis specifically as an amazing filmmaker, because he has never fallen into a groove of doing one kind of movie. Every single movie is totally different on its own merits. You may like them, you may not, but this is a guy devoted to pushing himself and pushing his art in any way that he finds inspires him. And he's totally right.
Yeah.
It was lovely to hear an encomium of one of the greatest filmmakers from another one.
You've interviewed filmmakers from Coppola to Guillermo, who's a friend. Is there a filmmaker you haven't interviewed that you like? Who's your dream interview?
Have you
Why isn't it Miyazaki?
Oh, I feel like I want to learn Japanese to interview Miyazaki. I would love to interview him. I'd love to sit down and talk practical effects with Jon Favreau. It was awesome to talk movies with Peter Jackson. I mean, we filmed there, but still tons of conversation above and on top of everything.
How about Danny
Gilliam.
Boyle? Gilliam would be good.
Gilliam is good. Gilliam is good. Gilliam's.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough. Ken Plume arranged for me to have breakfast with Terry Gilliam the first time I went to Dragon Con.
What?
And we sat there and talked about Alien.
How have we never talked about this?
It was a couple years ago.
Here's the thing about Ken Plume is when Ken says, "Oh, I'll introduce you to someone," more than any other person you've ever met, Ken really means it. So he said, "Come to Dragon Con." It was my first time. "Come to Dragon Con. Terry Gilliam's coming. I'll introduce you." I'm like, all right, we'll see if that happens. I fly in. I arrive at 6 a.m. I get to my room. 8 a.m. he texts me, "Hey, come on up to the 34th floor. I'm having breakfast with Terry." I'm sit there and have breakfast with Terry and his daughter.
I generally am pretty well behaved in situations with people that I admire or have great fame or impact on my life. I don't think I could have a conversation with Terry Gilliam. Like, I don't think I'm capable of mustering thoughts and turning them into words.
Thank him. And that's it. Thank him. Appreciate the
thank
work.
you.
And yes, and
Guillermo
keep on
and I
creating.
spent a lot of time talking about Brazil and Time Bandits.
I was going to say,
and Brazil specifically as just, it's so important. And we've talked about
Yes,
it.
we watched the whole
podcast, right?
The thing that I found, because I find myself talking to people who are in the creative fields a lot more often these days, and it is almost a universal that if you need to give somebody, like the other day I was talking about a visual reference that is a way to show a person is a person without doing a ton of work. And we were talking about putting a physical picture on top of an avatar, and what I do, like the face shields in Brazil.
Right.
And like, it was a concept I had spent 6 minutes trying to describe, and I was just like, no, it's like the things in Brazil with the lenticular, and I was like, oh yeah, totally, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, everybody, yeah. So it's a universal. That's where I'm saying.
Yeah. And then Time Bandits.
I've never seen Time Bandits, which I know makes me a bad person.
No, it does not make you a bad person. I am never going to be someone who shames anybody for not having seen something. I am jealous.
Yes.
As I was of Julia when it turned out when we first met that she hadn't seen The Thing.
Oh, no.
I am jealous that you get to see Time Bandits for the first time, because it is ostensibly a children's movie. It is incredibly dark, incredibly subversive, super playful. It's tragic. As Guillermo had this great quote of the interview. He's like, "God doesn't care. He's up there making avocados."
All right.
And Time Bandits is really, really important to me as a seminal film. And one of the things I realized in talking to Guillermo about it was because I saw it with my father, and my father took it really seriously.
I can see that.
And that was important to me at that age. That this movie that I thought was for me was, my dad was like, "Oh man, that ending was intense and hilarious and really black humor." And he's right. And it was the first time I got that deep insight into what black humor really was.
I can totally see. Like, yes, I totally understand that.
So that was it. It was an amazing trip. It was lovely. Mrs. Don't Try This, Julia, my wife, of course, met me in DC. We had that amazing day touring around, and then the party, and then she flew back home. So I had 2 countries, 3 cities, 6 days. Got home on Sunday,
And then we went to see The Lion King.
and then we went to see The Lion King.
From theatrical films of the flair for theatrical to actual theater.
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't see the live action remake featuring Emma Watson?
No,
No, that was Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, sorry.
We went and saw the stage play of The
Yes.
Lion King
Got it.
here at the SHN Orpheum Theater in San Francisco as
Yeah.
part of a shoot for Tested.
Yes, yes.
And it's
20 years.
beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It's
They've been making that. They've been doing it for 20 years.
20
19
years.
years, yeah.
Almost 20, yeah.
And you know what? The hype is totally justified. It's gorgeous and very moving and very beautiful, and it's just an incredible cast. Hey, if any members of the cast of Lion King is listening, my hat is off to you guys. That is that must be a exhausting show to put on. When you walk backstage and you see that all the like hundreds of costumes and prop pieces are all hanging in the rafters, and they're all moving up and down during the show as they
Right.
move them out. Huge sets are actually in multiple pieces on either side of the stage, and they're put together in the middle of dance routines.
Do they do? I mean, I assume the costumes, like when they have a giraffe or an elephant or something on, it's like a giant puppet.
It's
thing,
a-
Yeah,
right?
so
It's
puppetry was the focus, the crux
Okay.
of the piece that we did, which will be coming out soon, hopefully. But when we went backstage, the thing that we don't realize is as much choreography goes on backstage as on stage
yeah.
to make it all work, because Adams performed at the Orpheum,
Yeah.
and you notice there's not a lot of backstage.
No.
Well, there's never as much backstage as you would expect there to be backstage.
No, actually, some theaters have tons of it. Every theater is totally different. When we take our show around, when we'll take Brain Candy around, some theaters will have tons of crossover, big fat wings. Others will have nothing at all.
I mean, I guess the place that Norman and I went, the Civic
Bakersfield.
Coliseum in Bakersfield,
Yeah, the biggest-
they just opened up the parking
right.
trucks
You
in
went
there.
to the biggest one there is. That's my favorite, because the buses pull in right behind the stage.
Yeah, we
Indoors.
just drove away.
Like, we rolled in, and I texted you. I was like, "Hey, where should we meet you?" He was like, "You were like, just come up to the loading dock. You'll see." And there were 3 18-wheelers and 2 buses parked in there. It was amazing.
2 18-wheelers.
Oh, sorry, 2 18-wheelers.
We're a 2-truck show.
2 18-wheelers and a bus, I guess. Is what
2
I'm thinking.
18-wheelers and 2 buses.
Yes.
Yeah,
Jesus.
So a lot happened.
You made Jamie park his bus
my
way
God.
outside in the back, though.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, he was far away.
It's all the farting.
Yeah, well, I can't confirm or deny.
So which one's Timon? Which one? No, never. Those
Timon,
warthog-
who's Timon and who's Pumbaa?
The Lion King.
Pumbaa is the
oh,
farting
right,
warthog.
right,
Yeah,
Gotcha.
That was the worst segue you've
I
ever
know.
done, Norm. The good news is we can cut this out, so
I'm not going to.
even better. Well, cool.
What else has been going on? How are you guys traveling for the holidays?
I'm never going to travel for the holidays again if I can avoid it. I am literally going to stay at my house and drink eggnog and have a tree there and not ever get on an airplane between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
And you went to the Midwest for Thanksgiving,
did.
so that
oh wow,
That takes care of my traveling, although I'm doing 2 LA trips this week. I'm
whoa!
going to LA on Friday, flying back, and then driving back on Saturday.
Why?
Friend's wedding I'm going to.
Oh,
And driving was better for the second. Yeah.
what
I may have something for you to take to LA if you
Oh,
don't
yeah,
mind.
sure, no problem.
Do you mind dropping something off
Yes.
for Ryan Nagata?
I
You're
absolutely
muling?
will. Yes, I will mule. I will
Awesome.
prop
I'll
mule
make a stack
all-
for you right here.
Yeah.
I've got some moon boots for him.
Cool.
Yeah.
We can talk about that right here on the podcast.
I know it's
It's
good.
not a
It's good.
secret.
Anything else? I'm like, if you guys
Does
can pick
anyone
up my
else want
mail
to
while I'm
listen
gone,
to
that
our
would be great.
logistics?
Just I'm going to be gone from the 23rd to the what's your holiday? What do you are you staying here?
I am going. My mom's coming into town. My
Okay.
82-year-old amazing mom, who's been on
She's been on the
Tested.
show.
She's coming to town. We are heading up to Portland to the in-laws. I'm really looking forward to it. Can't wait. Then we're coming back here and doing New
Do you
Year's.
drive Portland or fly Portland?
We fly.
Okay.
We fly.
It's a good drive.
It is a good drive. 13 hours with two teenagers, my wife and my mom.
Especially when there's no cell service for like a third of that trip.
Well, that's not the thing. That doesn't bother me as much as just like you lose 2 whole days out of how many days?
I mean,
we're flying.
Flying is the right choice.
It feels, even though I just got back from a crazy trip, before that I was back home for more than 2 weeks, which is the longest I've been home in 6 months.
It's a good thing you slowed down since Mythbusters shut
So
down,
it
Adam.
feels, have I already said this on the podcast? I've flown 150,000 miles, 40,000 miles this
I
year.
think it was 125 last time we talked.
No, it's gotten bigger once I actually did the breakdown.
Well, at least you have the special seat, and you'll get to the boarding line front. Your status is secured for next year.
for a little
at least
while.
one more year.
Exactly.
I bring driving accessories. I got the dog and a drone in the trunk.
A drone in the trunk
Those
for
make the
chasing the
drive.
dog or finding the dog when she gets away.
For shooting beautiful video
Could actually,
on a road trip.
what? I'll bet you could hang Ripley from the Inspire.
I wasn't going to suggest that, but I think it's a good idea.
I do have the new Inspire too.
Is that for review or
Yes.
is that?
Yes.
I'm excited to hear how you like it.
Yeah. We're talking about taking to a racetrack.
Oh, nice.
Is it that fast?
50 miles per hour.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed. I just got wistful and missed Mythbusters driving stuff.
I have to imagine like the not being able to just go out and do something crazy in a car at least 2 or 3 times a year is hard.
It's the Kristen was telling Kalo, my friend was pointing out that the tested stuff I do is a lot similar to Mythbusters, but the shop Mythbusters, but not the physical exterior outdoor stuff. I still want
New
to.
Year's resolution.
Well, I still want to do that one wheel
2017.
shoot that we did
Yes.
that I didn't think worked,
yeah.
and I want to do it again.
Yeah.
I think we need to put some more physicality in the tested videos.
All
And
right.
you know what? If you guys have some suggestions,
I don't mean sit-ups after lunch.
what's it? Yeah.
You didn't sit upside for lunch?
No, that's a bad idea.
A million years ago, a friend of mine and I ate this giant Chinese meal, and then for some stupid reason, because we were like 18, like an hour later, we were like, I can do more sit-ups than you, and we did a sit-up contest after which we both threw up.
Well, have a happy holiday, guys. Are we doing another show next week, or is this it before Christmas?
I would love to do another show next week.
You're
I'm
around.
around.
I'm around.
Yeah,
He's
Let's do
around.
one more.
We'll do one more next
the end of the
week.
year, and then we'll take the week between. I'll pull up an old episode of classic.
Yes, there we go.
Between Christmas
Throwback.
and New Year's. I'll end with one story. At lunch today, we were chatting with a friend, and holiday parties we did our holiday party for our team, but. A lot of holiday party going on, a lot of gift giving. We don't do a gift exchange really at Tested. I think it'd be really tough to do. But overheard a recent holiday party where they did a white elephant for 30 people. White elephant exchange gifts.
Those are bad gifts? Is that what the white
No.
elephant is?
Sometimes you can set a dollar limit, at least $20, at least $25.
Okay.
But it's a mystery gift, and you trade. Up for grabs in the white elephant party. 2 tickets to Hamilton and SF.
What?
Bloodbath.
God, I can only imagine.
People
Friendships
bidding
are
or trading
destroyed.
or-
Trading.
Oh,
Stealing,
right.
trading.
You can do stealing.
Yes.
Oh, that's terrible.
my God.
My ex-wife used to work at this place, and we hosted a Christmas party for her bosses who were. Well, I won't tell you where she worked, but her bosses were absolute nut jobs. And the white elephant party with the 2 narcissist bosses was literally, one of them was like, I've got this that I wanted, so no one steal it from me or you're fired. I'm just kidding. I'm not really kidding. I'm kidding. I'm probably not actually kidding. Like that kind of.
Wow.
Right?
I could tie this all back. Hold on.
Bowling balls named Homer.
What?
That's the Simpsons show. Homer buys Marge a bowling ball
Christmas.
For Christmas, that reads Homer on it.
You got an engraved Homer. Oh,
That's great.
wow.
right.
I will tell you, we're not doing any Christmas decorations in our house this year because we're going up to Portland. Our sole Christmas decoration is Totoro, who now lives in the living room.
Why wouldn't he?
Of course.
Yeah.
And I sometimes come home and hug him.
Yeah.
He's holding a single strand of Christmas lights. It's very festive.
My daughter's 4, and this is the first year she's really been super excited about. Like last year, she was kind of excited.
Yeah.
This year, she's like ready to go. Wakes up every morning. We have the little thing on the wall that has the star
Advent
that she has to
calendar?
move through. And
Yeah.
it's it's really like I have not gotten excited about Christmas like this in a really long time.
that's so
it's been really
sweet.
fun. Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good place to stop.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
If we're a little low energy, we apologize.
There's a lot to talk about. We have a lot of great stuff on the site this week. We are finally publishing the completed build, Adam Strawnbeast's build from the Exploratorium this past summer. You can
can't
look forward
wait
to
for
that
you guys to see
on the
this.
site. In addition to not this most recent visit to the White House, but previously when you went to the White House South by South lawn event, some videos from there are also going to be popping up on the site this week. So a lot of content throughout the rest of the year. And I think we're going to kick off next year with some exciting stuff from our trip to Australia.
Yeah, we have so much
know.
in the
You had
hopper.
to save it for Australian summer when you shot
That's
it
right.
here, right?
Exactly.
It's like the seasons have
That's
to
how
line
it
up,
works.
right?
You know that I found out that in Ecuador, summer and winter happen at the same time because the country straddles the equator?
It's just always summer. There's no winter.
Right,
There's
but
no summer.
They have right, but they
Does the toilet flush clockwise or counterclockwise, Adam? That's the question.
that was one we always wanted to do on
You never tested
Mythbusters.
it?
No, it's a long story, but it takes a long time. It's a very complicated experiment to test.
I assume you have to just go take a toilet and set it on the equator.
Toilets all actually guide the water in a specific direction.
have to make a
toilet's
toilet.
not how to do it. No, you have to make a drain with zero bias in it, which is completely non-trivial from an engineering standpoint.
Well, yeah, and then you have to inject the water in a no bias way too, right?
You actually have to pour water into a vessel and have to let it settle for, I think, more than 2 days to eliminate anything but brownie
movement?
in motion.
Wow.
Yeah, totally intense.
So okay.
And I wanted to do this.
Custom toilet. Water still
No,
for
you
2
don't
days.
need a toilet. I don't know why you're obsessed with a toilet.
Like it has to look like a toilet at least.
I don't think so.
How many golf balls do you put in to make sure that it works? That's the question I have.
All right. I
Okay.
think thank you guys
Bye,
for
guys.
listening to the podcast. This
We'll
week.
see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Once again, we want to thank the sponsor of this week's episode of Still Untitled, and that is VMware's new podcast, IT is Greater Than Sci-Fi. Tech pioneer VMware dropped a couple of IT guys into classic sci-fi movies like Star Wars, The Matrix, and Terminator to plug the technology plot holes. It's clever and funny. The podcast is called IT is Greater Than Sci-Fi, and you can listen to it at vmware.com/radius/sci-fi or download it from iTunes. See you next week.